Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again inside the athletic fields here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is once again happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coouette on the call, back here for more girls soccer action in this 2018-19 regular season. Milford off of back-to-back wins, quickly getting into action in this Hockomock League crossover match this afternoon against the Oliver Ames Lady Tigers. Both teams reside in fourth place in their respective standings within the Hockomock League coming into today's action. Milford on the back of those consecutive victories, now 2-4-0 overall on the season. Again, fourth place in the Davenport. Oliver Ames at 4-2-2 overall on the season in fourth place in what has been a very talent-filled Kelley-Rex division so far this season. A couple of 7-win teams already over in the Kelley-Rex, so Oliver Ames trying to hang tough. Milford, meanwhile, trying to continue to build momentum and continuing to try to do that without the services of their best scoring threat on the roster, as once again Julia France out of the mix for this game today. We were present for Milford's last game. That was the victory over Stoughton, a 1-0 victory here last Thursday, in which we told you the news. Julia France receiving a controversial red card midway through the week last week, forced to sit for 2 games, so this is the second of those 2. As we see a quick corner kick here for Oliver Ames. And that one dying well shy of the net and drifting out of play, a goal kick for Milford. And as you can no doubt see, weather conditions not exactly pleasant out there for this match this afternoon. It has been a light rain falling for the last couple of hours here in Milford. The field conditions no doubt slick, and that will undoubtedly play a role in how these teams are able to execute as this game goes on. We expect the rain to continue throughout the duration of this match. Milford looking to attack from right to left across your screens for this first half. Oliver Ames right now carrying play on their attacking side as the ball once again drifts out of play. Just a couple of minutes into this first half action, and once again we'll see the corner kick come in from the near side for Oliver Ames, already their second in less than a minute. This one a little more on line, and then the header on the redirect, but the save is made by Olivia Marshall. Marshall getting the start once again, and just to clean up a logistical issue from our last game, we do apologize that we were unable to pick up on the goalie change midway through the game for Milford in that win against Stoughton. Olivia Marshall playing the first half. Coach Colabello sending Carly Ferreira out for the second half. So Carly Ferreira playing well for that second 40 minutes of the match against Stoughton. Did not allow a goal as Milford eventually took the lead midway into that second half, I should say, and then held on for the 1-0 victory. So a better week for Milford last week with those first 2 wins of the season, and trying to make it 3 in a row here today, but a tougher opponent on the pitch here this afternoon in Oliver Ames. They do come in off of consecutive victories, a 3-1 win over Sharon back on September 26th, and I should say in their most recent match it was a draw, 1-1 draw, in a match against the Franklin girls. They have not lost since back on September 24th. Oliver Ames also coming out of the season strong with 3 wins in their first 4 games, and that included a 9-goal performance and a victory against Stoughton back on September 15th. So an offense that has put up a fair amount of goals through this early part of the season, quickly getting to the midway point of the season. So game starting to take on added importance as teams try to position themselves for a potential playoff spot. Oliver Ames refusing the breakout as this ball gets dumped back down deep towards the near corner, and Oliver Ames able to play it along the near sideline, and that one kicks out of play, last touched by the Lady Tigers. 35:54 on this first half clock. Again, a raw, damp day here in Milford. Temperatures hovering right around the upper 50s, but the drizzle making it feel much cooler than that, and some hardy fans working their way through the weather conditions to take in this game here this afternoon. Marshall sending the kick out close to midfield. Oliver Ames there to settle it. Milford playing without Juliana France for the second consecutive game, and you could tell, especially as the second half went on, in the game last Thursday, that the team started to settle down. They started to adjust, get a little more comfortable out on the field. And in particular, some real impressive play from Olivia Sullivan, who netted her second goal of the season, her second goal in consecutive days, the only goal of that match. Was a major factor on the offensive side of the field, and good contributions as well out of Brianna Franzini, who was called up for the match on Thursday, a sophomore. But all in all, a solid team effort in that victory. Impressed by the performance overall on this team, and just as we mentioned, Olivia Sullivan just out of her reach as she tried to settle that ball down just onto Milford's attacking side of the field. 34 minutes and 30 seconds still to go in the opening 10 minutes of this Davenport versus Kelley-Rex matchup. Oliver Ames dumping it to the corner and just able to keep it in. That was number 15 for Oliver Ames, Allison Even. Marshall sprawling out next to the post to keep that ball from going in, but we'll see our third corner kick now, this time coming in from the far sideline. Brianna Gibson, a senior on this Lady Tigers roster, will line up for the corner kick. And right to the center of the goal mouth and directed in for the score. And that looked to be Gabrielle McLaughlin, one of the senior captains for this Oliver Ames squad, who was able to get the header past Marshall. And less than 10 minutes into this first half, Oliver Ames able to take a 1-0 lead. So Milford, after playing to a scoreless draw through the first half on Thursday of last week, now forced to play from behind early. A solid keeper in net on the other side for the Lady Tigers in Emma O'Donnell, just a sophomore. Oliver Ames as a team so far this season has allowed just 9 goals through their first 8 games of the year. And Emma O'Donnell with a .93 goals allowed average. Carried over the middle by Abby Evan of Oliver Ames. Now getting loose for another shot, and that's going to get past the hands of Marshall and in. That was Erin Holmberg, a junior. He's able to get a step on the defender and well placed just beyond the outstretched arms of the keeper for Milford. And in just about a minute, Oliver Ames able to double the lead to 2-0. Oliver Ames really dominating play here through these first 10 minutes of this first half. Very little presence around the OA net so far. As always, we check in with the scoring leaders as reported by HockomockSports.com before any match. The only Oliver Ames player listed amongst the top scorers on the year is Cameron O'Connor with 4 goals and a total of 5 points. Those stats updated through September the 30th. But already getting contributions from 2 separate players through the first 10 minutes, McLaughlin and Holmberg. Gabrielle McLaughlin, one of the captains, along with Maggie Alt, who was not dressed to play in this match. Again, Oliver Ames able to dump it deep, trying for a quick centering pass, and a good job by Milford to get back there and deflect the ball away, but it will result in another corner kick. Coach Colabello in full rain gear down in front of the Milford bench, taking in what's been a difficult early portion of this game for his team. Already down by 2, and Oliver Ames threatening for more as they send the corner kick right on line. And this one is going to find the back of the net once again, and that looks like McLaughlin. And it looks like we're going to see a timeout called as McLaughlin scores her second of the half to already make it a 3-0 Oliver Ames lead. And Coach Colabello, all he can do is call timeout to try to regroup here. Not quite 10 minutes into the first half, and an ugly start for Milford. They trail Oliver Ames by a score of 3-0. We'll take the timeout as well here on Milford TV. We resume play out of the timeout. It is a lightning fast 3-0 lead for Oliver Ames over Milford. A pair of goals so far for Gabrielle McLaughlin, the senior captain. Aaron Holmberg with a score as well. And Milford has been unable to break out of their defensive side of the field, trying to create some space as Hannah Martin now will dump it down the far sideline, but Oliver Ames calmly able to regroup. They send it back to their keeper, O'Donnell. Milford able to get the deflection now ahead through traffic. And that one just past the reach of Martin. And Oliver Ames now playing it up the near side and stepping in with the boot downfield, Catherine Madden, who had a very good game defensively, the sophomore on Thursday. Sophia Wilson now with a little extra contact at the end of that play. As her momentum carried her out of play, this will stay possession with Milford. And Sienna Pierce with the toss in, that just eludes Jillian Mickelson. Right back out of play, and you can see Milford trying their best to dry off the ball before sending it back into play. Now into Madeline Boyle. And back to Pierce. Pierce trying to slow that down. It kicks out of play again. This time, Oliver Ames the chance to toss it back in. They loop it downfield, and right back out of play off the foot of Madden. 28-38. Left in this first half. As Boyle watches that one drift out of play. Your overall scoring leader in the Hockomock League so far this season for the girls' side of things is King Philip's Chloe Lane, who has scored 16 goals to go along with 5 assists for a total of 21 points so far on the season. For a King Philip team right now, 7-1-1 on the season. As a team, they've scored 39 goals through 9 games. As we mentioned off the top, there are some Titans playing over in the Kelley-Rex division this season between King Philip and Mansfield. Both teams with 7 league victories. Mansfield a perfect 8-0, 8-0-1 overall on the season. King Philip at 7-1-1. Boyle to the far sideline, moved along by Cassie Probert, who set up that game-winning goal for Milford against Stoughton last Thursday. Centering it up for Olivia Sullivan. And now Martin for Sullivan down the far sideline, but there is Owe guiding it back to the keeper once again. Across midfield and just beyond the reach of the Lady Hawks. There's Annie Flanagan. And And now moved out of play by Boyle. Wisely so, as Oliver Ames was streaking upfield. And now the whistle going against the Tigers with 26-18 on the first half clock. A lot of encouragement coming from the Milford bench. Still a lot of time left. Over 25 minutes to go in this first half. Oliver Ames putting on more pressure here. They'll try to send this one on net, but it's deflected away. That was Allison Even. Now here's Sullivan. Gets around a defender. Now the centering pass from Mickelson. Mickelson with 3 defenders closing in. Here's Hannah Martin now in support. And this will get deflected back out. Probert trying to keep it alive. And back out to midfield. One of the better chances. And again, that was Olivia Sullivan using her speed. Oliver Ames showing some stout defense just outside the box. Stepping ahead is Pierce, but Away able to move the ball ahead past Sienna Pierce. And now a trip up, not much contact there. With Brianna Franzini. There's Lauren Selmeyer for Oliver Ames. And now the kick moved ahead by Brianna Gibson. Another senior, a decent crop of seniors on this Oliver Ames squad. And reading some of the preseason information about Oliver Ames, one of the things that was talked about the most was their experience on the defensive side of the field. It was thought by many that that would be their biggest strength, as this one is sent in all the way on goal off the foot of Brianna Gibson, but Marshall able to make the save. Keeps it a 3-0 score. And so that's certainly a comfort if you're an Oliver Ames team right now sitting on a 3-goal lead, knowing that your defense has the potential to shut other teams down. Milford hoping that is not the case today. Nice stop in the corner. Looked to be Flanagan back there. And we'll see some fresh personnel come out onto the field for Milford. Isabella DeFranzo and Christina Shirelli onto the field, replacing Sullivan and Franzini. The game clock ticks down to 23 minutes to play. Both players on both sides going after the ball there. Hannah Martin among them. And leading pass a little too out in front. This is going to deflect to the corner and out. Oliver Ames has gotten the better of this matchup in the previous 3 seasons. But it's typically been a close contest, a 1-0 loss last season, a 2-1 loss in 2016. And the biggest margin of victory was a 3-0 win for Oliver Ames over Milford in Oliver Ames back in the 2015 regular season. So that is the margin by which OA currently leads this one. Three goals within the first 10 minutes for the Lady Tigers to take control early, now making our way down to the midway point of this first half. Milford lets that go out off of Oliver Ames, and now we'll see another substitution. Hannah Martin getting a quick rest as Sophia Wilson makes her way back out to the field. Now a high drifting shot that Marshall will watch drift just to the left of the net. Oliver Ames' head coach is Britt Selmeyer. Now here's Mickelson trying to protect. Shirelli flying past. She couldn't reach the pass. Now moves it along, but out on the near sideline. Ball rolling free to the far side. Oliver Ames will pick it up calmly. It's moved along and out beyond the goal line. And this will take us now down close to exactly 20 minutes left to play. A quick sub on the Oliver Ames side as Abby Evan checks back in. Evan with a, what looks to be a cast on the left forearm. Into Wilson now, who lost the pass down the far sideline in the direction of DeFranzo. And now just out of the reach of Mickelson as it's sent back across midfield. Played on there by Flanagan. Catherine Madden can't quite find Shirelli, but she's able to step back in, retake control for Milford momentarily. Back across the middle, here's Mickelson, and back to Shirelli, who's now able to move it up the far sideline, and it's sent out by Owe's Lauren Pacanzi. The toss there, and you could see Shirelli had some trouble getting that toss in with the slick ball conditions. That ball going out of play. Milford and their fans feeling like they should have been awarded the corner, but this will be a goal kick for the Lady Tigers with 18:22 to go in the half. A soft kick that time. You have to imagine that was again the conditions not playing in the keeper's favor and almost led to an opportunity for Mickelson, who tried to pounce on the ball, but O'Donnell able to get back. There's Flanagan again. Wilson racing back. Probert also in the vicinity, but this will be moved ahead, playable for one of the goal scorers so far for Oliver Ames, Aaron Holmberg, but that one deflected back out towards the far sideline. Kept by Owe, the toss deep on their attacking side with 17:18 on the game clock. Another corner kick for the Tigers. All of the corner kicks so far in this half have come on the OA side of the field. Aaron Holmberg will deliver the kick. Corner kicks have been successful for Oliver Ames so far. This one deflected down by Madeline Boyle. It's still in trouble and in for the Lady Tigers. And that's number 20. Lauren Pacanzi, who was able to grab the 4th OA goal, and so the corners have been a huge problem in this first half for Milford. This This goal coming with 16:46 to play in the half. Milford continues to search for a way to contain this Oliver Ames offense, and meanwhile needing to generate some chances of their own. This is the third time this season now that Milford has allowed more than 3 goals in a match. On their season opener against Franklin, they lost 4-0. They also allowed 5 goals in a shutout defeat against Foxborough back on the 17th. Over their previous 3 matches, they had allowed 2 goals or fewer in each. Long toss now by Shirelli for Martin, but that ball out of play. Grabbed very close to the sidelines by the Oliver Ames coaching staff. Martin playing it back to Pierce. And then out of play off of Milford. The umbrella's still out around the stands as a light rain continues to fall. Started falling well before this match began and will likely continue. This is the 3rd season now over in the Kelley-Rex division for Oliver Ames, of course, for a long time part of the Davenport, where it seemed like in a lot of the sports we saw Milford and Oliver Ames developing a pretty strong rivalry, but now only 1 matchup a year for these 2 teams in each sport. Hannah Martin couldn't quite settle that one down to get a shot away, but now tries to regroup, gets a hard shoulder check. And that draws the whistle. Let's see if Milford can use this as an opportunity to get on the board. That was Abigail Hodges, a junior, who caused the contact. Madeline Boyle now lining up for the kick. And she'll send this one in just over the net. Trying to pick that upper right corner. So the best scoring chance of the day so far for Milford comes up empty, and it remains a 4-0 lead for the Lady Tigers. Pierce keeps it in for Milford, now pushes it up just past Martin. And now Hodges will clear it out back to midfield, and now it glances out. It'll stay Milford possession. Again, Shirelli trying to dry that ball before tossing back in. Up the near sideline, protected by Hannah Martin, and down to the corner and out of play. And then this one cleared out to the opposite end of the field by Holmberg. And then back out. Coming down to the final 12 minutes of this first half as Martin drifts the ball over towards the near sideline. Nobody home, and that will Go out of play, and Oliver Ames will quickly toss back in. And now another opportunity for the toss. And a nice pass. Looking to find Shirelli in an open space on the field, and just could not get that in a position to settle it down. And more contact, that time no whistle, as Shirelli was dropped off the contact by, I believe it was Evan. Milford trying to do something here in the late stages of this half to start to shift the momentum. A long way to go, down 4-0. Here's Shirelli again. Moves this ahead in the direction of Martin. And before she can get there, Oliver Ames, Lauren Pacanzi sends it out of play. Pacanzi scored the last goal for Oliver Ames off the corner kick with just under 17 minutes to go in the half. The toss by Pierce right to Hannah Martin. And that deflects off of Milford before drifting over the goal line. Oliver Ames will take the goal kick with just about 10 minutes left in the first half. Milford lets that one go. Here's Catherine Madden. And players getting tangled up. No whistle as Martin tried to center that one up just past the reach of both Sullivan and Probert. The defender fell down. That allowed Martin to get the centering pass away clean. Milford continuing to try to exploit the speed of Shirelli down that near sideline to try to create some offense. Boyle trying to step in to slow that down. Now back to the defense. Milford again getting it to Shirelli. Pierce trying to find Martin. 8:35 to go in the half as now Oliver Ames breaks it out again. And this will find its way back to Marshall. And I beg your pardon, Carly Ferreira looks like is now out there. Will not make that mistake a second time. Certainly a tough start to this game for Marshall, having to fight both the weather conditions and a Oliver Ames offense that came out very strong, had to battle a series of corner kicks. Across the middle, played on by McLaughlin, who has 2 scores in this half. Trying to get it back, but that pass too far out in front, and Boyle made sure that that made its way back to Ferreira, who now releases the kick upfield. Deflects right back to Madeline Boyle. And now some hard contact. Incidental, but Jillian Mickelson shaken up considerably on that play, and this is going to force an injury timeout with 7 minutes and 2 seconds left in the first half. Oliver Ames with a commanding 4-0 lead on Milford. We'll be back in just a moment here on Milford TV. Back to action after the injury timeout. Mickelson eventually able to get to her feet and to the sideline under her own power. Looks to be okay. Maybe just shock more than anything else as she took some contact up around the face. And now play ahead for Hannah Martin. She races to the corner, tries to clear herself. Now here's Shirelli. Shirelli and Martin doing a good job in the corner. Shirelli able to break out with it. And trying to find Probert. Now stepping in is Wilson. And Oliver Ames able to send it out just shy of midfield. Shirelli has been a standout for Milford throughout this first half. And Oliver Ames just able to get a piece of that one. That looked to be right on line for Martin, but played well by Brianna Gibson on the Oliver Ames side. Shirelli ahead to Martin, but Martin has it glance off of her foot and out of play. 5.5 minutes to go in the half. Score unchanged, 4 goals for the Oliver Ames Lady Tigers. Here's Martin trying to play that one around Lauren Selmeyer. Toss back in, coming from Sarah Weber. And after the deflection, here's Martin, long toss over the head of Olivia Sullivan. Now here's Madeline Boyle, who shoots that one too far ahead into the far corner and out. A lot for Coach Luke Colabello to discuss with his team at halftime. And now the ball rolling free to the near side, picked up by Selmeyer. Again, the dump to the corner. Here's Madeline Boyle, and she gets tripped up. Going up against Oliver Ames' Samantha Gilligan. That kick dies just shy of Shirelli. And now taken away by Sophia Wilson. And now Martin. A nice ball ahead to Shirelli if she can save it. And just cannot. Got there just before the ball went out, but couldn't keep it on the right side of the line. And Oliver Ames will get the toss back in. Now Boyle waits. Deflection back to Pierce. Now Martin. Turn around to Probert. Here's Probert with a chance, and that's going to make its way in. The deflection ends up just barely rolling past the keeper, and Probert gets Milford on the board. It's now a 4-1 score. Not the prettiest goal on the season, but Milford will certainly take it with just 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go. And Probert, who assisted on the lone goal Milford scored in the game here last Thursday, now gets a score of her own. And all of a sudden now Milford looking for more here with just over 2 minutes to go. Back down to a 3-goal lead for the Tigers. Clock stopped now as we go under the 2-minute mark. Chiarelli again. Chance for the toss, and Milford now looking for a chance to cut the deficit down to 2. But Oliver Ames will send this back across midfield. Now pushed ahead. And the quick release and the save made by Carly Ferreira. The late chance for Oliver Ames' Leah Johnson.
Please, can I go in with you?
That one past Wilson. Pushed back up to Probert. Probert finding Sullivan, and Sullivan moving it along for Martin. She loses the foot race against Brianna Gibson. Milford keeps it alive. Chiarelli, more tough, hard-nosed play. Now Pierce to the corner and out of play, and that will be the final play of this first half. So Milford does have an opportunity to give themselves a little life going into the break, as the late goal scored by Cassie Probert with just over 2 minutes to go makes it a 4-1 score. But it was all Oliver Ames early. McLaughlin with a pair of goals, Holmberg and Pecanzi with the others to make it a 4-1 score. So Milford with the 3-goal deficit as we reach the break. We'll step aside momentarily and we'll have second half action for you when we return next here on Milford TV. Welcome back to the Milford turf field as we bring you second half action in this girls soccer matchup between the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks and the visiting Oliver Ames Lady Tigers. Oliver Ames with a 4-1 lead, away scoring 4 goals through the early part of that first half. Milford able to grab one late to cut into the deficit. The goals scored in the first half. Gabrielle McLaughlin, the senior captain, scoring just about 7 minutes in, and Erin Holmberg made it a 2-0 lead just about a minute later. And then 2 minutes after that, McLaughlin with her second to make it a 3-0 lead. And now a quick chance again here in this early minute for Oliver Ames, but Carly Ferreira able to make the save. The final goal on the Oliver Ames side in that first half was scored by junior Lauren Pecanzi. On the Milford side, it was Cassie Probert who was able to net her first goal of the season with just about 2 minutes and 44 seconds left in the half. Milford now attacking from left to right across your screens in the second half. Carly Ferreira taking over for Olivia Marshall partway through that first half. And now as we get the second half started, we see a change in net on the Oliver Ames side, as well as the freshman Emily Myers comes in to replace Emma O'Donnell. So a couple of underclassmen serving as the goalkeeping duo for Oliver Ames. So Myers out there now. As the second half gets started, we'll take a full look at the updated standings for the Hockomock League coming into today. We start with the Davenport Division. Foxborough still in first place at 5-0-2 overall on the season. Then it is North Attleboro at 4-1-2. Canton at 2-4-1, just a point ahead of Milford for third place in the standings. And then it is your Lady Scarlet Hawks with a 2-4-0 record. Sharon in fifth place at 1-6-0 overall, and Stoughton 0-9 overall on the season after that loss to Milford last Thursday. As Oliver Ames gets the toss in. And that ended up going over the net and ended up ricocheting down off the back. It looked as though it was a score, but that did clearly go over the net and then ended up getting hung up in the netting behind. But the result is a corner kick. These corner kicks were extremely effective for Oliver Ames in the first half. That one very close, just sneaking wide to the right of the net. 3 of the 4 goals Oliver Ames scored in that first half were scored off of corners. Boyle with the goal kick. Probert going up for it, and Oliver Ames whistled, so Milford will have a chance to position themselves for a kick taken once again by Boyle. Line drive kick. Took a high hop on Hannah Martin. Able to get the face out of the way, and that ball ricochets back to midfield off of Oliver Ames and out. Tossed back in by Madden. Sent out a play off of the foot of Hannah Martin. The first 5 minutes of the second half action. Milford looking for a chance here as Wilson tracks into the corner. Deflected back out. Martin will play it. Martin whistled. A good kick by the Lady Tigers. A chance to center it up into almost a wide open net, and that one quickly scooted past the goal mouth and out of play, and you could see the frustration on the face of Lauren Selmeyer. Or, excuse me, that was Allison Evan, number 15. Now Oliver Ames keeping this one in deep. Outside for Holmberg. And Carly Ferreira steps up into traffic to make the stop. A bounce just beyond the reach of Shirelli. Now Sullivan trying to move it ahead for Probert. Trying to hit her in stride.
21, relax.
Now Madden moved along by Martin. This ricochet right to Hannah Martin. Now here's Probert along the near sideline. Madden able to cut down the angle there. She deflects it back out of play. Taking a look at the schedule moving forward for the Lady Hawks. They'll have a couple of games away from their home field after this one today. Their next contest, we'll see Milford go up against the Canton Lady Bulldogs on the road. And a great deflection by Madeline Boyle, keeping that one away from net. Sliding in. But Oliver Ames will have the corner kick, so more on the schedule in a moment. Brianna Gibson setting up in the near corner. A low line drive kick, and that grabs a piece of the side of the netting.
Nice job, Christina.
So just to finish out the point, that match coming up on Thursday will feature Milford on the road against Canton. Two teams in close proximity in the standings. Canton coming in just a point ahead of Milford for third place in the Davenport standings. So that will come up on Thursday. And then next week, Milford continuing on the road, taking on Attleboro. They will not be back here on their home field until October the 12th in a matchup against the Sharon Lady Eagles. Just about 10 minutes into the second half action. The toss in for Oliver Ames, and played well into the corner. And Boyle deflects it back. It doesn't get the clear. And now long range shot, and Ferreira couldn't handle it, but fortunately drifting wide to the left. And so they're going to give Oliver Ames the corner kick from the far side. Unsure why they awarded it to the far side, and then meanwhile, Oliver Ames getting a quick substitution in as they bring Maggie Alt onto the field. So the second captain for Oliver Ames making an appearance here in the second half. And now dumped back in, but wide of the net. And Milford will have a chance to clear it out. So Oliver Ames coming up empty on a couple of corner kick chances so far here in the second half, after they really cashed in that department in the first half of this game. So still a 4-1 lead. And now moved deep to the other side of the field by Martin. And back there first for Oliver Ames is Abigail Hodges. After the substitutions, play continues for Oliver Ames with 28 minutes and change to go in this half. The ball deflects out. Milford quickly sends it back in, and Pierce can't keep it in play. Now Madden dumping it back in, but right to Leah Johnson. We'll play it back to Hodges. Possession flip-flopping along the far sideline. Milford now with another toss. Kept in, and now here's Pierce. Pierce to DeFranzo. And now pushed ahead. Milford trying to protect. Here's Martin trying to dump it inside the box. Deflected back out by Oliver Ames all the way to midfield. And Madeline Boyle with the pass to Alyssa Monahan. Now Sullivan trying to find some space. Olivia Sullivan's been kept in check by Oliver Ames after her strong performance here on Thursday. Milford trying to make something happen from long range, but an easy collection by Emily Mayers. And now good speed by Flanagan to cut off the angle and deflect that ball out of play. And Oliver Ames continuing to cycle through their bench, as now we'll see Holmberg back in there. Olivia Carroll, a junior, also making her way onto the field. Probert, hard move in to try to break up that pass. Ball ends up out of play. A goal kick coming up here to be taken by Boyle with 25 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the second half. A two-game winning streak in jeopardy here for Milford as they look to continue to chip away at what was a 4-goal lead for Oliver Ames, now a 3-goal advantage. We've been scoreless so far in this second half after seeing the two teams combined for 5 over the first 40 minutes. Here's DeFranzo. She's able to get to it. Now the pass across the field. Can't find Franzini, and now pushed in from long range by Hannah Martin. Now DeFranzo again. So a good sequence here in this game. It looks like we'll see yet another corner kick. And looped in and immediately deflected in by Lauren Selmeyer. Just a freshman, able to grab the goal to put Oliver Ames back on the scoreboard and make it a 5-1 Oliver Ames lead.
Good job, Red. Good job. Good job, girls. Go Billy.
So another goal off a corner kick. Something Coach Colabello is certainly going to be having his team work on in between games. Hannah Martin taking some contact after she released that pass. No whistle, and now a trip up as Boyle stands in on that play. So the physical play ramping up a bit as the second half goes along. A low line drive kick off the leg of Hannah Martin, and Martin now with a little bit of a shove, trying to match the physical play of Oliver Ames, and meanwhile on the back end of the play, the whistle going against the Tigers. Ball up for grabs, Soe able to deflect it up the near side, and Boyle waits for it to go out, and Boyle now trying to get things organized before she sends the toss in over the head of Shirelli. Not as much space for Shirelli so far here in the second half as Oliver Ames able to make some adjustments. 21:51 to go in the second half. Now a 5-1 Oliver Ames lead. Now absorbed by Franzini. Pushed ahead, intercepted by Olivia Carroll. Back out of play, possession stays with the Tigers. Getting darker by the minute out there as we start to head into the evening hours now. 5:15 in the evening. So a little over 20 minutes to go in the second half. Probert and Martin teaming up there. Oliver Ames still controls it. Certainly the good news for Milford as they move forward, if they are unable to collect some goals to get back into this match here late. They do have reinforcements on the way. They know they'll have Juliana France back in their next match. And it also looks like a return to the lineup for Ashley Starks is very close. Talking to Coach Colabello prior to the game, there was a possibility as that kick goes just up and over the net. There was a possibility that perhaps Starks would make her season debut today, but with the weather conditions being what they were, the coaching staff not wanting to risk it as Starks looks to make her way back after a tough ankle injury suffered just before the season started. So you'd have to think that the look at this team will change greatly with those two players back in the mix. Oliver Ames now with some numbers upfield, and the quick release off the foot of Leah Johnson, but that rolls out of play, and we roll on close to 18 and a half minutes to play in the second half. deflection by Oliver Ames back across midfield. Milford closing in with numbers, but Oliver Ames still able to deflect it down towards the corner where that will eventually roll out. As the timeout is called on the field, stopping the clock with 17 minutes and 56 seconds to go. We will take the timeout as well. Oliver Ames on top of Milford by a score of 5-1 as you enjoy coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV. Just under 18 minutes left as we resume action here in the second half. Oliver Ames able to seize control of this match within the first 10 minutes. If you're just joining us, it was 3 goals quickly out of the chute. And really the story of this game has been corner kick chances. 4 of the 5 goals scored in this one for Oliver Ames coming courtesy of the corners. Milford able to grab one back in the closing minutes of the first half by Cassie Probert, who right now sends the pass back in the direction of Madeline Boyle, but broken up. Kick now for Oliver Ames taken by Abigail Hodges as we start to see the JV squads enter the building. Hannah Martin deflects that one back out to Christina Shirelli. Dumps it downfield, hoping that Wilson could reach it. We saw those kind of plays develop a lot late in the first half with Christina Shirelli. Now Oliver Ames looking for space. But Boyle with a nice kick. And just out of the reach of Shirelli this time. Sarah Weber waiting to check back in for Milford, joined by Olivia Sullivan. The whistle going against Milford, and again the Milford fans here who have stuck it out through the inclement weather, not happy with the call. Boyle can't get the clear. Now the pass towards the corner, and that play results in a whistle, this time going against the Lady Tigers. We have just over 15 minutes to go. Subs waiting to check into the game on both sides. Probert stepping up in a battle against Lady Tigers along the near side. That eventually makes its way out, and now the substitutions come in. Pierce with the hard deflection back towards midfield, now tries to step right back into the play. Now Boyle gets the clear. Played well by defensive grouping for Oliver Ames. Sent along, here's Wilson trying to track it, and played back to the keeper. There's Sends it back out towards midfield. Now Milford settling it down, moved it ahead to Bianca Guerrero. Getting into the game here in the second half. Smooth passing ahead for the Tigers. Up ahead to McLaughlin. Hannah Martin able to intercept. McLaughlin gets it back, lofts a pass that drifts across the goal mouth, and now played back out by Guerrero. Now McLaughlin heads it forward. McLaughlin with 2 goals in this game, and now long-range shot attempted by Leah Johnson, but deflected out of play. But we will see another corner kick. And McLaughlin will line up to take it as the clock dips under 12 minutes to go. Milford able to get to it first this time, getting the partial clear. Oliver Ames now trying to send it right back in. Some space momentarily along the near side. It's McLaughlin again. I beg your pardon, that was Abigail Hodges, number 8 for Oliver Ames. Trying to find some space in front of their own bench, but that was too far out in front of Maggie Alt. That's going to hug the sideline, allowing Olivia Sullivan to catch up to it, but also there was Emma Pereira for the Tigers. Hannah Martin trying her best to keep that one in, but it deflects out back to Oliver Ames, and more substitutions now on the Milford side as we see Franzini back onto the field. Probert surveying her options with that toss and eventually sent it short range to Boyle. Here's Franzini. She sends it inside the box, but the only person there to make a play was the freshman goalkeeper for Oliver Ames, Emily Mayers. She loops a short kick. Just out of the reach of Abby Evan. Now here's Franzini. She'll dump it back in again. Now the deflection to Boyle, and eventually along for number 18, Sarah Weber. About to go under 9 minutes left to play in the second half. Here's Weber again. Good pass finds Franzini. Franzini trying to battle through Lauren Pacanzi. A lot of determination here right to the end for Milford. It's been a frustrating day Trailing 5-1 with less than 8.5 minutes to go as see Boyle with the kick. This takes a bounce and deflects right to Mayers. And now Probert right to the edge of the box where again Mayers is there. Chance now for the Tigers to play it deep, but Boyle again, very good footwork. Play along the far sideline by Alyssa Monahan. And waiting now to check into the game is Grace Privilege. She will replace Guerrero. And now Olivia Sullivan loses her footing in a one-on-one battle against Emma Pereira. For trying to find a way to get on the score sheet here one more time late. As Boyle breaks up that chance for Oliver Ames. That looked to be Anna Tempestoso. It looked as though we were going to see Madeline Boyle and Hannah Martin make their way to the bench, but right back onto the field now. As Oliver Ames will have the corner. And straight line, just shy of the goal. Oliver Ames deflecting it back out, and now looped in. Ferreira is able to make the save. That was tricky. That really knuckled in, but Ferreira was able to stay with it. Less than 5 minutes to go now. Franzini has it taken away. Martin still out there on the field. Has that just elude her grasp. Now Probert forced to knock it out of play along the near sideline. Sienna Pierce, Annie Flanagan, and Lily Borst perched on the sideline waiting to check back in to these final minutes. And we'll see the substitutions now, and now we will see Madeline Boyle and Hannah Martin head to the sidelines along with Alyssa Monahan. Martin and Boyle steady as always for this varsity squad. Coach Colabello giving them a rest here for these final 4 minutes. This deflects right back in deep. Now trouble brewing as that one now gets knocked out of play. Franzini able to push that out towards Privilege. She has it taken away. Kept in by Oliver Ames. Now here's Probert, a chance to break it out. Could not quite find Olivia Sullivan. And now brought right back in aggressively by Abigail Hodges. Christina Shirelli will head back in as we'll see now Cassie Probert take a rest for what will now be the last 2 minutes of this Hockomock League crossover matchup between Milford and Oliver Ames, and virtually all Oliver Ames now. Probert with the lone Milford goal. Taken away by Annie Flanagan. Now Shirelli tries to move it upfield. Good footwork displayed as Milford looks for one last scoring chance here in the final seconds, under the 2-minute mark now. This drifts out. Well, last minute now of play as Milford will have the goal kick. Oliver Ames keeps it alive. Very little daylight left on this gloomy day as these two teams close out a tough battle. Now Weber across. Milford takes their time and now deflected away. There is the final whistle, so that wraps up a tough afternoon for the Lady Scarlet Hawks as they fell behind quickly 3-0 within the first 10 minutes, and it was really Oliver Ames controlling the pace of play the rest of the way. Milford able to get their lone goal just prior to the half, and then Oliver Ames putting in one final goal as Selmeyer was able to find the back of the net in the second half, and it all totals up to a 5-1 win for Oliver Ames over Milford. Milford's 2-game winning streak comes to an end. Milford now will fall to 2-5-0 overall on the season. Oliver Ames with a victory improves to 5-2-2 overall on the year. So that wraps up our coverage here this afternoon. For Rob O'Keefe, I am Tim Coet. Again, that final score, one final time, 5-1. Oliver Ames downs the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.